It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. I'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night it is proving to be historic indeed for BKFC's 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Early on the turn, right hand from my daddy, double jab.
Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Hello and welcome to a Wednesday Live right here on the early line on SportsGrid and all across the SportsGrid network. That includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination and consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. It is the day following deadline day in Major League Baseball. A flurry of moves ahead of the 6 p.m. Eastern Time trade deadline on a Tuesday, July 30th. It is the final day of this month. And now rosters are set for the stretch run in this Major League Baseball season. Teams trying to make a move to contention in October. Yesterday, we recapped deadline day, the biggest deals and trades, and what it means now in the markets to contend for a pennant or win a World Series championship. A patriotic day at the Olympic Games. Team USA in women's gymnastics back atop the world and the podium. And history for United States rugby, as we shared with you yesterday. DRS, there is so much to get to here in these 3 hours.
And just about 24 hours away from preseason NFL football as well. Boy, do we got you covered today. And there is a lot going on in Major League Baseball, which includes those Philadelphia Phillies, used to be the best team, now not the best team. Jazz Chisholm, the single best player in the history of the planet. Team scoring 17 runs against opponents who don't score any runs in Major League Baseball. What a night in Major League Bases. Big afternoon card, and it's up to us, Ben, to get the people ready for today's action.
A big afternoon card on a full Wednesday slate the day following the deadline. How do teams feel as they look forward to the stretch run of this year? We got some reinforcements yesterday ahead of the deadline. A flurry of moves that we will break down in full for you throughout this opening hour, but headlined by a couple of arms trading places and making their way to Southern California. The Marlins send Tanner Scott to the San Diego Padres in a massive 6-player trade. Our MLB insider, Craig Mish, who covers Miami. Of course, the Marlins were a huge seller yesterday ahead of the deadline, and they've really been selling all year long. And Jack Flaherty, the Los Angeles native from Burbank, California, makes his way to his hometown team. He now joins the starting rotation of the LA Dodgers.
Yeah, that was a big move that we were waiting on when I was saying all afternoon long. You tell me the Dodgers' biggest move is going to be getting Michael Kopech here? Not a chance here. That is a massive move that the Dodgers, only the Dodgers, I should say, would be able to pull off. That guy's going to help them in the rotation immediately and possibly be a force down the stretch. If they are going to catch the Phillies, that is going to be one of those guys that's going to help. They needed frontline pitching. The Dodgers got frontline pitching yesterday.
Flaherty 7-5 this year, a 2.95 ERA. He's only allowed 10 earned runs in his last 9 starts since the end of May, and that includes a 5-run outing in which he pitched against the Angels at the end of June. From Donnie's neck of the woods in Burbank, California, he played his high school baseball at a powerhouse in SoCal that I know very well, Harvard Westlake. Jack Flaherty back in L.A. Tanner Scott, 18 saves this year for the Fish. Did not have many opportunities to win a ball game and hold on to it. He will have those chances now for a Padres team that is surging, including this midweek set, the Southern California rivalry against the L.A. Dodgers that we'll talk about in just a moment. But first, the game of the night, the marquee matchup in the midweek in Philadelphia. Jazz Chisholm, who was traded for by New York from Miami on Saturday afternoon, making an instant impact for the Yankees. His second consecutive 2-home run game in Philadelphia, including giving the Yanks the lead in the 7th. It highlights a 12-inning affair in which Clay Holmes blew the lead in the 9th, and the Yankees and Gleyber Torres with an RBI sac fly game-winning run in the top of the 12th. When in the longest game of the year, 3 hours and 51 minutes, they take the second straight game over Philly this week, 7-6.
Yeah, and the Phillies superstars are the ones to blame here. Aaron Nola gave you a good enough start here to win that game. The offense is the issue here. I understand. Donnie, the 4-1 lead, the bullpen blew it. Strom came in. Don't care about that. You don't score 4 runs through 2 innings and then nothing until the 9th inning. How about you tack on 2 or 3 runs over those 6 innings and you win the game going away? The superstars who came into that game last night, since that Oakland A's series before the break, JT Realmuto, 3 of 21. Bryce Harper, 9 of 49. Trey Turner, 11 for 53. Bryson Stott, 8 of 34. Kyle Schwarber, 10 of 44. So the best of the bunch here, 227. The Stars have to show up. That was a game you're supposed to win. And quite frankly, you should have hung double-digit runs against the Yankees like they did against you the night before. The superstars letting the Phillies down on a night-to-night basis, and that can't happen.
And Garrett Cole was scratched, so the Phillies were hefty underdogs at a minus 162 price. Dealing with upper body fatigue is what the Yankees are calling it. Will Warren got the start, and the Yankees get a victory. Jazz Chisholm, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs for a second consecutive night. Austin Hayes, the new guy from Baltimore for Philadelphia, 4 ribbies in that ball game, but not enough. You could tell the heat from one Donnie right side. The Padres rally in the 9th against the Dodgers. The Dodgers scored 5 runs in the opening frame, and San Diego came all the way back. Manny Machado, homer in the 9th. Jackson Merrill, a homer in the 9th to send it to extras. Donovan Solano walks it off with a ripped RBI single for the game-winning run. The Padres take the opener in the Southern California rivalry 6-5 yesterday over Los Angeles.
I think the Padres got another good shot tonight. They're going to take on Clayton Kershaw, but Dylan Cease will take them out. So I think the Padres looking up. But this is a team playing good baseball. And if you want to have the lead in late innings, typically the team you're going to want now to be is the Padres. They fortified that bullpen. This is going to be a team to reckon with down the stretch.
A really good acquisition of Tanner Scott in San Diego, making its way in a wild card contention. They have won 8 of its last 9 games. Now to the Olympiad over in Paris. After a disappointing silver medal finish 3 summers ago in Tokyo, Team USA in women's gymnastics, led by Simone Biles, back atop the medal podium, golden again. Team USA dominant in the team all-around final yesterday, taking the gold medal. Italy gets the silver, Brazil the bronze, but Simone Biles, the reclamation of her career, leading the Americans alongside Jordan Childs and many others. We can throw in Suni Lee as well to a gold medal victory in the team all-around final yesterday.
As expected, on the biggest stage, every 4 years, you have to participate and you have to dominate. Those are the expectations for the Team USA women's gymnastics team, and they did nothing short of excellence last night. It was fantastic to watch. The Stars rose to the occasion, and the gold is back with Team USA. Well deserved.
Simone Biles, at the age of 27 years old, is the oldest Olympian for United States gymnastics to earn a medal, and now the most decorated. 8 Olympic medals, 5 of them in the color of gold. How about this. The United States women's rugby team in the bronze medal match against Australia in the final seconds, the one known as Spiff, Alex Cedric, takes it 90 yards across the pitch for a game-tying try in the conversion. Team USA wins its first ever Olympic medal in rugby sevens in an absolute walk-off thriller, DRS. You had to see to believe.
Yeah, your boy would have been strutting down the field if that was me in the rugby sevens, blowing that away, knowing that was going to be a victory at that point. Little LaDainian Tomlinson. That is an awesome way to win a medal. Where what's the equivalent of a 99-yard touchdown run? It was awesome to watch, man. It was.
It was so good. The Americans cover as a 17.5-point underdog, winning outright as well. Victor Wembanyama leading France to an overtime victory over Japan, but it was tight, 94-90 for the French side. DJ Moore making history for the Chicago Bears, inking a 4-year, $110 million extension. Big in Chicago. We'll get your thoughts on that in just a moment, DRS. Mike Trout shut down by the Angels after his rehab setback.
Yeah, that's a tough scene there also. We will get to the wide receivers, but Mike Trout, a career, what it could have been here, just up in smoke at this point. Who knows what the future's going to lie, but the one thing we know, he's going to get paid a lot of money. That's for sure.
That's for sure. The trades ahead of the deadline yesterday. Next.
The silver and the bronze. I give you Canada, France, Germany, Serbia, and Australia.
Germany, more so than Canada. I think that their talent, it's a little more tiered. You know what Dennis Schroeder's capable of. Franz Wagner, another player. Daniel Tice steps up, and Mo Wagner as well. They're built to really take advantage of the mistakes that Team USA makes, and they can make the effort plays.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
That race for the Cy Young, pretty much as equally compelling and intriguing as the race for the wild card spots in the National League.
And also keep in mind, this team doesn't pitch the entire season, so his ERA gets affected much, much more if he has a poor outing than, let's just say, Chris Sale or Zach Wheeler that's been there all season long. This would be a fun one to watch it play out, but the big loser last night were the Phillies and Zach Wheeler.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Hopefully they learned their lesson. Hey, this ain't the NBA, bro. You don't have 6 fouls, and they will check you on this stuff. And Brooks has a reputation coming into this. You can tell the refs are watching them, and they were on him all the time.
This was 10, 12 years ago. Canada playing Greece with that type of lead if they had. They probably would have mentally crumbled and lost that game to Greece by 3 or 4 points in the final minute of that ball game.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
My favorite two MLB insiders, a sincere apology to Jeff Passan or Buster Olney or Ken Rosenthal. Both were on the SportsGrid network yesterday breaking down deals on deadline day. Our MLB insider, Craig Mish, on Newswire had a mashup, a seismic mashup, as he welcomed on Burt Murray, MLB insider for Fansided, who has been here on the morning show on SportsGrid many a time. And it was Burt breaking down the trade yesterday, the biggest on deadline day in MLB, the Dodgers acquiring Jack Flaherty from the Detroit Tigers. Jack Flaherty, a Los Angeles native, played his high school baseball at powerhouse Harvard Westlake, now makes his way back to his hometown team. Having a good year in the Motor City should fortify a starting rotation for LA that desperately needs it to be a true World Series contender.
And the move was much needed here because we have been saying over the past couple weeks, let's see what the Dodgers do at the deadline so we can reevaluate. And as the deadline was getting closer and closer and closer, it seemed apparent like the top level pitchers were not going to be moved. And also, if you were watching the clock yesterday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, nothing going down. Like, wow, the Dodgers are going to stand pat. And quite frankly, Ben, I was ready to fire that tweet out that goes, all the expectations for the Dodgers that we had were major moves were going to be had. That's why their price is being listed at the FanDuel Sportsbook as a prohibitive favorite, because we expected the expectation being they are going to make major moves. So I had that tweet ready to go like, hey, look at the Dodgers. The rest of Major League Baseball actually picks up a win here.
Yeah.
Flaherty comes in. Now, is Flaherty going to be the Cy Young Award winner and the most dominant pitcher down the stretch? Probably not. But you look at that starting lineup and how much it needed a frontline starting pitcher just to carry those guys until some guys come back off the IL. A much-needed move for the Dodgers. And no surprise, Ben, they made that move.
Tyler Glasnow is now back for Los Angeles. He has made 2 starts since he was put on the short-term IL with a little bit of all-star break rest in early July. The Dodgers have lost both of those games, but Glasnow has been pretty solid. You add Jack Flaherty, you wait for the return of Yoshi Yamamoto, and you do have a frontline starting staff that by the time playoff baseball comes around in October, that is not to be trifled with. Jack Flaherty this year again, 7-5, a 2.95 ERA, only 10 earned given up over his last 9 starts, and that includes an outing against the Angels where he allowed 5 earned runs at the end of June. A good move by the Dodgers when you expected them to make one. Really, it was the Southern California teams, Donnie, that faced off yesterday in San Diego that made perhaps the biggest or most impactful moves on deadline day. The Padres acquiring the Marlins closer in Tanner Scott, fortifying the back end of the bullpen in San Diego. The Padres have made a run since the beginning of July. They're now a wild card team in the National League. A victory over the Dodgers yesterday. San Diego's won 8 of its last 9 games.
Yeah, and as I said, I think they're in line possibly to win another one today to keep that hot streak going.
Yeah.
Are you saying they're going to catch the Dodgers? Probably not, but they are a playoff team, and they got enough talent here to certainly do some damage in the playoffs. But if we could just flip it over for a second, Marlins fans, all 3 of you that I'm talking to out here right now, I mean, where does this leave you? Like, where does it leave them right now? Is this like, if you are asking like a fan base just to buy in and say, hey, come out, like at least with the Pirates, they give you something to cheer for, even if they're not going to spend any money, some homegrown talent, something to buy into. Every other year, it's a reset. Every other year, it's a new president of operations. It's a new general manager. It's a new ownership group that's going to buy that team. And they're left with absolutely nothing. So what are we actually rebuilding into? 2 or 3 years to do the same exact thing again? And it's crazy to see, like, even like Jazz Chisholm goes to the Yankees, like, hey, that's a pretty decent move. Yeah. The minute he gets out of there, looking like he is having the time of his life, like, wow, I'm playing in front of sold-out ballparks here. I'm with a team that's notorious for winning championships. It's almost like these guys are just escaping the asylum and enjoying themselves outside of Miami. I just feel for the Marlins fans, again, if there are any left, and why should you be? Because you keep getting the carpet pulled out from you year after year after year. It's wild that Major League Baseball allows the A's and also the Marlins to operate like this.
DRS, the second worst record in the National League, 39-68. Only the Rockies worse, and of course the Chicago White Sox, the worst team in MLB. We will ask our MLB insider who covers the Marlins, Craig Mish, who is breaking a ton of those deals that the Marlins made over the last 48, 72 hours, even dating back to last week when they sent A.J. Puck around MLB as well. And Jazz Chisholm thriving in New York to start his Yankees tenure. Brian De La Cruz traded yesterday. Craig did not break any news, sadly, during the daily basis on the early line, but at the end of Newswire did mention that Trevor Rogers was getting moved by Miami. He makes his way to Baltimore. So a lot of the moves yesterday the Marlins had a hand in. Josh Bell traded yesterday as well. DRS, any of the maybe under-the-radar moves outside of Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers or Tanner Scott to the Padres that caught your attention?
Lightning in a bottle, we could be saying this year, and that's with the Orioles getting Eloy Jimenez. We know him from the past where he's really struggled. He makes decent money. He was basically left for dead on a team that wasn't doing anything, goes now to a different organization. So, like, Chisholm was having an okay season. Now he goes to the Yankees like, you know what? I feel good about this. I think we can win a World Series. Let me get reinvigorated. That's one of those where if he pops off down the stretch as a power bat in that lineup that technically doesn't even need any more power bats, I love that move.
Right.
He gave up nothing, and the chance to strike gold is still there. So the Eloy Jimenez, I also think maybe a Kevin Kiermaier move out to the Dodgers. Say, boy, he can't hit anymore. It doesn't matter. When you're looking to win playoff games, Ben, you want to put Kiermaier in center field, let's just say, over the eighth and ninth inning when you have a one-run lead. That's all you need. Like, these simple moves that sort of put you over the top that you see right now, like, oh, Kiermaier's not going to do anything for the Dodgers. You wait for the playoffs. You wait for a big moment, and he either steals a home run and makes a crazy diving catch in center field. Like, wow, that move was sensational. So a little bit under the radar there in Kiermaier and Eloy Jimenez.
I think it's a good point, Donnie. When you get to October baseball, when the rotations are tight, when your roster is set, it might not be the marquee move, the biggest bat on the market who was available, the best starting pitcher, although Jack Flaherty should really help in Los Angeles. It can be those pieces that managers use to make all the difference in a different atmosphere come postseason time. Kevin Kiermaier, as good as you will see around the major leagues defensively in center field. We'll talk about the names that weren't traded ahead of the deadline. If we were surprised by any, and take a look at where the market stands. Now in MLB, up next on the early line.
The silver and the bronze. I give you Canada, France, Germany, Serbia, and Australia.
Germany, more so than Canada. I think that their talent, it's a little more tiered. You know what Dennis Schroeder's capable of. Franz Wagner, another player. Daniel Tice steps up, and Mo Wagner as well. They're built to really take advantage of the mistakes that Team USA makes, and they can make the effort plays.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's like it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
That race for the Cy Young, pretty much as equally compelling and intriguing as the race for the wild card spots in the National League.
And also keep in mind, this team doesn't pitch the entire season, so his ERA gets affected much, much more if he has a poor outing than, let's just say, Chris Sale or Zach Wheeler that's been there all season long. This would be a fun one to watch it play out, but the big loser last night were the Phillies and Zach Wheeler.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Hopefully they learned their lesson. Hey, this ain't the NBA, bro. You don't have 6 fouls, and they will check you on this stuff. And Brooks has a reputation coming into this. You can tell the refs are watching them, and they were on him all the time.
This was 10, 12 years ago. Canada playing Greece with that type of lead that they had. They probably would have mentally crumbled and lost that game to Greece by 3 or 4 points in the final minute of that ball game.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on the early line on SportsGrid and all across that SportsGrid network. It is Wednesday following deadline day in Major League Baseball. We talked about the trades that did happen. Here are the marquee players that we thought might have been available on that trading block that did not get moved. Tarek Skubal stays in Detroit. Good. Minus 145, your American League Cy Young favorite, although Corbin Burns, after a great outing yesterday for the O's, now also in minus money at minus 110. our MLB insider, not Craig Mish, but specifically here on the early line, Joe Frieso, our producer, was correct. His sources were telling him that Garrett Crochet was not actually available, and the White Sox hold on to their best starting pitcher. Blake Snell not moved, although San Francisco was a slight seller at the deadline, trading Jorge Soler. Blake Snell remains by the Bay. Luis Robert Jr., he stays in Chicago. I'm not sure he's happy about that. Luis Rengifo, he stays in Anaheim, and Yandy Diaz stays in Tampa as well. Of the guys that stayed put, Donnie, who do you think is maybe the most angry to still be in that spot?
Probably Luis Robert at this point, because like that team is just terrible. And what are you going to do down the backstretch? You got no protection in the lineup. But outside of that, the Tarek Skubal move that we started to hear about like 3 to 4 weeks ago made zero sense. A pitcher in his mid to late 20s, one of the best young left-handed pitchers in baseball with a chance to win a Cy Young on a team that has an outside chance to make a playoff run, was going to give that guy up in hopes they would get a package back for maybe they would find another Tarek Skubal. That made zero sense. I'm glad he stayed in Detroit. Yeah. Good for the fans there as well. Garrett Crochet, this one shaped up once again as this is an oddity because you know the White Sox wanted to move him. You know the White Sox wanted to replenish that farm system, and all of a sudden their agent comes in and throws a wrench in it and goes, okay, if he's going to move, you're going to meet every single demand we want for the new team. So what's the new team do like the Los Angeles Dodgers? Yeah, we'll move on to find another guy that we can just trade for, and he's going to be happy just to be wherever we put him in the starting lineup or in the bullpen. Obviously, Flaherty's going to be a frontline pitcher, but Crochet's demands, you trade for me, I want to have every specificity. Give me the word. What's the word? Specificity?
Specificity.
There we go. Oh, exactly. I want every single thing net on my list. It's like when a rock star goes to an arena and goes, if you put like green M&Ms in that bowl, we're not showing up tonight. Stop the madness. You're a young pitcher. Go to what happens if the Dodgers wanted to make a move to Crochet? You know they got endless dollars. Go there, be a team player, and you know at the end of the rainbow there's going to be a pot of gold. So congratulations on sticking with Chicago. And I hope Chicago now just moves him into the bullpen and makes him throw way more innings than he even wanted to out of punishment at this point. So those two right there. Skubal staying, fantastic. Crochet staying. What are you doing, buddy?
Our guys, Michael Massey, Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny P, the Pasquatch, Vinny Pasquantino, delivering RBIs yesterday for KC. They win 4-3 over Chicago on the south side. The White Sox have now lost 16 consecutive games. If you think Chicago is bordering on the longest losing streak in Major League Baseball, I direct your attention to a Louisville team from the 1890s. But since the year 2000, the longest losing skids in Major League Baseball. The Royals in 2005, they lost 19 consecutive games. And the Baltimore Orioles back in 2021, also a 19-game skid. Quickly to Tarek Skubal, because you're spot on, Donnie. There was a lot of optimism, and rightfully so, in Detroit, despite a former front office that many in the Motor City hated. You keep on to your young studs. That is Tarek Skubal. We have seen guys deliver for Detroit as well. You invested and brought in A.J. Hinch. There are things to like in Detroit. They might miss out on the playoffs this year in a competitive American League, and frankly, a very competitive American League Central that might send 3 of its 5 teams to the postseason, and in the division lives the Chicago White Sox. So fine, maybe you'll border around 500. Maybe you will miss out on the postseason once again. But you have some staples, manager, ace, a couple of young bats to build forward with. I'm very happy for everybody that I know in Detroit, for Tigers backers and faithful, that Tarek Skubal was not moved despite some early speculation that maybe he might be.
Now, who do you know in Detroit, by the way? Like this, a
lot of my Michigan State fans.
But by the way, Detroit itself, it is a decent-sized market with an owner that's very rich and willing to spend money. So I always look at these like long-term and say to myself, if you're going to move Skubal, like what are you hoping to get back? Hey, a guy that's maybe as good as Skubal? Like keep the guy. He's not making $60 million a season at this point. You need to have something to look forward to in the next season to build off of. That's Skubal. Thank goodness he stayed.
The games around MLB on deadline day. Recap next.
the silver and the bronze. I give you Canada, France, Germany, Serbia, and Australia.
Germany, more so than Canada, I think that their talent, it's a little more tiered. You know what Dennis Schroeder's capable of, Franz Wagner, another player, Daniel Tice steps up, and Mo Wagner as well. They're built to really take advantage of the mistakes that Team USA makes, and they can make the effort plays.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
That race for the Cy Young, pretty much as equally compelling and intriguing as the race for the wild card spots in the National League.
And also keep in mind, this team doesn't pitch the entire season, so his ERA gets affected much, much more if he has a poor outing than, let's just say, Chris Sale or Zach Wheeler that's been there all season long. This would be a fun one to watch it play out, but the big loser last night were the Phillies and Zach Wheeler.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Hopefully they learned their lesson. Hey, this ain't the NBA, bro. You don't have 6 fouls, and they will check you on this stuff. And Brooks has a reputation coming into this. You can tell the refs are watching them, and they were on him all the time.
This was 10, 12 years ago. Canada playing Greece with that type of lead if they had. They probably would have mentally crumbled and lost that game to Greece by 3 or 4 points in the final minute of that ball game.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Earlier in the week, as we were getting ready for this midweek matchup in Philadelphia, we called it World Series Preview, ? Between the Yankees and the Phillies. 2 of the 3 best prices to win a World Series facing off in the city of brotherly love. As we recap last night's game, the second of the set, the question now is Game of the Year, and it was a good one. The Yankees victorious 7-6 in 12 innings, but that does not tell the full story. A 3-hour and 51-minute game by today's standards in Major League Baseball, the longest of the year. Garrett Cole got scratched earlier in the afternoon. Will Warren got the start in his place. Philly moved with Aaron Nola on the bump to greater than $1.50 favorite at home, and there was a total of 10. But the Phils slide in and around the All-Star break continues in Philadelphia. They have now dropped 8 of 11 since returning from the All-Star break and also lost their final set entering the break to the Oakland Athletics. As a game will be remembered for the new acquisitions. Austin Hayes, good for Philly, 4 RBIs. But on the other side, 5 ribbies, 2 home runs for a second consecutive night for the newest Yankee in Jazz Chisholm. The Yankees win in extras, 7-6.
Yeah, impressive win again for the Yankees. And also keep in mind, this is a 3-game set in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is going to roll out there in this game. Game number 1, you have Zach Wheeler going up against Luis Gil. That's advantage Philadelphia Phillies. They lose that game. Aaron Nola, who was supposed to go up against Garrett Cole, who hasn't been having a great season. Maybe it's a closer of a pitching mismatch. You bring up a guy who's never pitched in Major League Baseball before, advantage Philadelphia Phillies. You lose this game. Game number 3 is going to take place today. It's Nestor Cortez versus Christopher Sanchez, who's been absolutely electric this year. So the Phillies could get swept despite being at home and the better pitching advantage on the mound each and every game. That can't happen. That's a direct shot here at the superstars for the Phillies. But Donnie, they scored 6 runs. You game. Hear me out on this. When you have a talented team like the Yankees, it's not as if you had a 4-1 lead like Hayes hit that home run in the bottom of the 8th inning to make it 4-1. Hey, insurmountable lead in the 9th, you should win that. If you score 4 runs right off the bat, it's up to you to run this young kid out of the ballpark here by tacking on at least 2 more runs over the next 2 innings and put this game out of reach. When you give a team like the Yankees second chances, they're going to hit. Also, keep in mind, Jazz Chisholm, unconscious so far since coming over to the Yankees.
Yeah.
That's not a guy that, lefty-lefty matchup, like Strom's brought in, he usually sits that guy down, and he's giving up home runs to 3-run home runs to give up the lead. Now, credit the Philadelphia Phillies for coming back in the 9th inning, but still, they lost in extras. They were gutsy performances by the New York Yankees. 14 runs in game number 1, 7 in game number 2.
Yeah.
If they can pull off the sweep here, this is why I was talking about before the break, Ben. I still trust the Yankees here because when that top-end talent starts to shine, they're going to be hell on wheels, and they're kicking the Phillies right now while they're down.
Yes, they certainly are. No RBIs for Aaron Judge, so he still remains one shy of the century mark this year, but leads MLB with 99 ribbies. Of course, leads the majors with 39 home runs. Now batting .319 after a 3-for-4 performance at the dish that featured 2 walks as well. Third best batting average in MLB. Probably not the Triple Crown winner in the American League because Bobby Witt and Stephen Kwan are both ahead of him in Major League Baseball and, of course, in the AL. But now minus 1,000 is Judge to win the American League MVP award. But in the past couple of nights, the MVP for New York has been Jazz Chisholm. 3 games played as a member of the Yankees, as you saw. 4 home runs. The Pinstripes a perfect 3-0. Chisholm is batting .400. These stats courtesy of Sarah Langs, who does great statistical research for Major League Baseball. Jazz Chisholm, second player in MLB history with 4 home runs in his first 3 games with any franchise, joining 2016 Trevor Story in the Colorado Rockies. Chisholm is the first player with 2 multi-home run games happening back-to-back in his first 3 games with any franchise. Jazz Chisholm, all that jazz, the graphic title has been exactly that for the New York Yankees. Instant impact at the trade deadline since being dealt by Miami on Saturday afternoon.
And as Sarah Langs would say, baseball is the best for reasons like this. Jazz Chisholm goes from a team that's going nowhere this season that comes in now to the Yankees and expected to perform. How do you make a great impact with your teammates here? Hey, I'm not really sure who Jazz Chisholm is. Oh, you know who he is now. Granted, he's not going to carry on this. Otherwise, he'll probably end up winning the MVP over Aaron Judge if he hits 2 home runs every single night. But my goodness, what a shot in the arm. And also, if you're the general manager, Brian Cashman, you make a move to shake up that lineup. That worked out absolutely fantastic. So just goes to show you on a day-to-day basis, some things you expect, some things you think aren't going to happen, some things are crazy, like Jazz Chisholm turning into Babe Ruth getting to the Yankees.
The Phillies have lost 10 of their last 14 games, 3-8 since the All-Star break. Still a lead, though, in the National League for that best record, 65-42, but now tied for the best record in MLB after the Guardians blanked the Tigers, both teams 65-42. The Dodgers unable to make up ground, at least yesterday in San Diego, despite jumping out to a 5-0 lead, scoring 5 runs in the top of the first. Tyler Glasnow, not bad, but it was a 9th inning rally from San Diego. The second home run of the night for Manny Machado made it a 1-run game. Then Jackson Merrill having a great rookie season for San Diego, a solo shot to send it into extras where Donovan Solano delivers for San Diego. The game-winning RBI single to walk it off at home for the Padres. They take the opener over L.A. 6-5.
Make the most of your opportunities. If you would have told me the Padres would score 6 runs and go 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position, which means only 4 runners were in scoring position, that's crazy. Not taking advantage of the runners in scoring position. The Los Angeles Dodgers, Ben, 2 of 10 with runners in scoring position. That's not good enough. But also, the same thing I just said about the Philadelphia Phillies. Sure, it's awesome to have a 5-run lead in the 8th inning, right? In the first inning, you know you're still going to get a game because the home team has 9 more at-bats to try to counterpunch. You scored 5 in the top of the first and not a single run the rest of the way. Those are tough pills to swallow because, again, 1 run in the 3rd, 1 run in the 5th, 1 run in the 7th. You win that baseball game going away. You don't score again, it gives the other team advantages to chip away, which they did in the 2nd and 3rd inning, and then finally in the 9th inning in the bottom of the 10th inning. That is a gutsy performance by the San Diego Padres and a team to watch out for over these final 2 months.
The San Diego Padres have now won 8 of their last 9 games. They are tied with the Mets for what is the second and third National League wildcard spot. The Amazons and the Padres half-game lead over Arizona for those wildcard positions. All 3 teams, the New York Mets beating the Twins yesterday 2-0. The D-backs winning 17-0 over the Washington Nationals. So San Diego playing good ball. The Dodgers still 7-4 since returning from the All-Star break. The Braves lost the opener in Milwaukee to start off this midweek set. They bounced back yesterday in a big way. 5-1 victory for Atlanta. Another under for the Braves as a total of 8.5 stays under. The Braves entered yesterday just 3-7 since the All-Star break. They needed a win. They got it in Wisconsin.
Yes, they did. And also, under's always the way to go with Atlanta. But can we go back to that 17-0 game? You know what happens sometimes where guys are like, okay, just wasn't traded today. The Arizona Diamondbacks gas up and pound the Nationals. But if you're Patrick Corbin, one of those like maybe throw-in type of veterans, somebody please take me. All right, good. I didn't get moved. So how do you repay that team? 3 innings pitched, 13 hits, 11 runs, 10 of those earned, 3 Ks here. That's outrageous. I mean, you want to talk about like, hey, thank goodness I don't have to move at this point. My goodness, man, you might get DFA'd. Forget about getting traded. Goodness.
Gabriel Moreno, 3 RBIs. Eugenio Suarez, 5 ribbies yesterday and hit 3 home runs for the Diamondbacks. They win 17-0. The reigning National League pennant winners playing really good baseball, again, in that heated and competitive National League wild card race. The Cardinals also got a big victory over Max Scherzer and the Rangers yesterday. So, again, when you look at those standings, and the Pirates got a win yesterday as well. The 6 teams in the running for the National League wild card. The Braves, the Mets, the Padres, those are the 3 teams right now. But the D-backs, Redbirds, and Buccos, all 6 teams separated by just 2.5 games. It's post-deadline. Where did the market move? We'll continue talking about it up next.
The silver and the bronze. I give you Canada, France, Germany, Serbia, and Australia.
Germany, more so than Canada. I think that their talent, it's a little more tiered. You know what Dennis Schroeder's capable of. Franz Wagner, another player. Daniel Tice steps up. And Mo Wagner as well. They're built to really take advantage of the mistakes that Team USA makes, and they can make the effort plays.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's like it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
That race for the Cy Young, pretty much as equally compelling and intriguing as the race for the wild card spots in the National League.
And also keep in mind, this team doesn't pitch the entire season, so his ERA gets affected much, much more if he has a poor outing than, let's just say, Chris Sale or Zach Wheeler that's been there all season long. This would be a fun one to watch it play out, but the big loser last night were the Phillies and Zach Wheeler.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Hopefully they learned their lesson. Hey, this ain't the NBA, bro. You don't have 6 fouls, and they will check you on this stuff. And Brooks has a reputation coming into this. You can tell the refs are watching them, and they were on him all the time.
This was 10, 12 years ago. Canada playing Greece with that type of lead that they had. They probably would have mentally crumbled and lost that game to Greece by 3 or 4 points in the final minute of that ball game.
Sports Rage Late Night. Only on SportsGrid.
More Major League Baseball recaps from deadline day around the bigs. The New York Mets making a few small moves on deadline day, and everything is amazing right now for the Amazons. After beating the Twins in the opener of their midweek set at Citi Field on Monday night by a final score of 15-2, this is the beauty of baseball, right? The Mets win game number 2, 2-0 over Minnesota. They were a minus 120 home money line favorite. Sean Manaea, sensational yesterday on the bump. 7 innings of shutout work, only allowing 2 hits, striking out 11. The New York Mets, DRS, they've won 7 of their last 9 games. They just keep winning since the month of June.
Yeah, one of those handicaps yesterday that, if you're looking for a total to the over, you certainly didn't get it. But I thought the Mets were the better team because also Manaea, who is a decent pitcher when he gets it going, is a left-handed pitcher. And that's something the Minnesota Twins haven't been able to hit all that much. And boy, they couldn't touch him yesterday, Ben. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, only 1 walk, and 11 strikeouts. What a great performance. The grimace Mets yesterday, more the pitching grimace Mets than hitting Mets. That was a good win because I actually thought they would get the Festa more than 5 innings and 2 earned runs that he had.
Yeah.
So he actually had a quality start, but Manaea was fantastic yesterday in another win at Citi Field, 57-50, the New York Metropolitans.
Again, tied for that second or third wild card spot. The final 2 wild card positions alongside San Diego. Both the Padres and the Mets only a half game behind Atlanta for the very top spot in the National League wild card race. The St. Louis Cardinals have to keep winning if the teams in front of them stay hot, and they did yesterday, a big one. The Redbirds under the arch 8-1 against Max Scherzer and the Rangers. Scherzer was not great yesterday, only out there for 4 innings, but did allow 3 earned runs. That was really the difference, and it was capped off by a welcome back to one Tommy Pham as a pinch hitter in the 5th, a grand salami to make it all 8 runs for St. Louis, the 8-1 win yesterday over the Rangers.
Yeah, shout out Lance Lynn, 6-4 now in the season. He only went 5 innings pitched, only giving up 1 earned run, lowering his ERA to around 4. But the handicap yesterday for me, I thought the better pitcher on the mound would have been Max Scherzer, sort of as I talked about getting that runway here, saying, all right, 5 innings pitched, we're done with that. Now we're going to go 6, 7, maybe build up to maybe an 8-inning pitcher. Wasn't the case. 4 innings pitched, 68 total pitches, 3 earned runs. That's a step backwards here for the Texas Rangers that we're hoping Max Scherzer can be one of those pitchers and one of those players coming back off the IL that can help rescue that team. That was a bad performance yesterday by the Rangers, but again, St. Louis needed that victory. They got it.
Things were good for Texas entering the weekend. They had won 5 straight, 7 of its last 9. They were swept by the Blue Jays. They have now split the opening 2 games of this series in St. Louis. By the way, the Cardinals and the Padres, 2 teams we saw on display, both winning as an underdog on Tuesday evening. The only 2 teams in Major League Baseball to be booked as a dog more than 50 times this year and have a winning record. St. Louis 29-27, 56 games as a dog. San Diego 29-22, 51 games as an underdog. The scoring stays hot in Fenway. The Red Sox beat the Mariners with a football score of 14-7 on Monday night. Kind of a football score, at least double-digit runs for Seattle yesterday. 10-6, the victory for the Mariners in Fenway over the Red Sox. Total was 10.5. James Paxton made his debut for Boston. Did not go very, very well.
It's shot because I understand how some people operate and how they look at Major League Baseball. Oh my God, look at Paxton's record. How could the Dodgers actually cut him? This doesn't make any sense. But the people that know have been talking about Paxton since the beginning of the season. He just might be the worst pitcher of Major League Baseball analytically every single time he steps on the mound, and he didn't disappoint last night. He had temperatures that were susceptible to hitting. He goes 4 1/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 innings pitched. Didn't give them a chance right off the bat. He's just a bad pitcher here, and I'm wondering how much longer even Boston is going to keep him on that roster.
Justin Turner, in his debut, perhaps with Seattle, maybe his second game for the Rams. I think it was his very first for the Mariners, delivering the first run of the game, an RBI single. So 6 runs were scored while Paxton was in 4 1/3, only 3 of those earned. But we kind of laughed at it yesterday when you look at James Paxton, who made his last start in Los Angeles against the Red Sox in his final start for the Dodgers. As DRS mentioned, an 8-2 record, now 8-3, but an 8-2 record entering yesterday, but a 4.43 ERA. He was winning games with one of the best teams in baseball in Los Angeles. but not necessarily a shutdown guy. Seattle, still an interesting team, right? They swept the White Sox over the weekend, entering yesterday, had lost 9 of their last 10 outside of that weekend sweep. So a victory, but not great. Boston, just 3-8 since the All-Star break, now trailing in the American League wildcard race, looking up at the Royals, who have that third and final spot. We'll show you where the markets move to start off hour number 2 after the deadline in Major League Baseball. But what a day it was for Team USA at the 33rd Olympiad over in Paris yesterday. Let's start with the absolute stunner, and we'll get to gymnastics following. DRS and I were locked into rugby yesterday, learning the rules on the fly, but understanding the history on the line for the Americans. The United States women's rugby sevens team reaching the semifinal round for the first time since rugby sevens became an Olympic sport in 2016 in Rio. They covered against New Zealand, who went on to win the gold medal, 24-12 in that semifinal match. 19.5-point underdog was the U.S. And then as a 17.5-point underdog in the bronze medal game, looking for the first Olympic medal in rugby sevens history in these United States, they pull off an absolute stunner, a walk-off conversion try at the end, courtesy of Alex Spiff Cedric. Bowling over an Australian defender, took it 90 yards down the pitch, diving through the wickets of the goalpost for that game-tying try, composes herself, knocks it through the uprights for the conversion. The Americans winning their first ever Olympic medal in rugby sevens, 14-12, outright as a 17.5-point underdog against the Aussies. Alona Mar, will never buy a drink again in the United States. Neither will Spiff Cedric, a bronze medal for the Americans.
Yeah, work on the collective bargaining agreement in the NFL. Doesn't let the players tackle really much during the week. Maybe that's coming in the rugby sevens. Bad tackling, long touchdown run. Love to see it.
Come on, Spiff! DRS is fired up. We'll talk more Olympic Games summaries from yesterday next.
The silver and the bronze. I give you Canada, France, Germany, Serbia, and Australia.
Germany, more so than Canada, I think that their talent, it's a little more tiered. You know what Dennis Schroeder's capable of, Franz Wagner, another player, Daniel Tice steps up, and Mo Wagner as well. They're built to really take advantage of the mistakes that Team USA makes, and they can make the effort plays.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on SportsGrid.
That race for the Cy Young, pretty much as equally compelling and intriguing as the race for the wild card spots in the National League.
And also keep in mind, this team doesn't pitch the entire season, so his ERA gets affected much, much more if he has a poor outing than, let's just say, Chris Sale or Zach Wheeler that's been there all season long. This would be a fun one to watch it play out, but the big loser last night were the Phillies and Zach Wheeler.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Hopefully they learned their lesson. Hey, this ain't the NBA, bro. You don't have 6 fouls, and they will check you on this stuff. And Brooks has a reputation coming into this. You can tell the refs are watching them, and they were on him all the time.
This was 10, 12 years ago. Canada playing Greece with that type of lead that they had. They probably would have mentally crumbled and lost that game to Greece by 3 or 4 points in the final minute of that ball game.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
A rugby stunner in history for United States Rugby and the women's team yesterday. The bronze medal in the wild walk-off finish. Alex Spiff-Cedric, an American icon, a bronze medal for the first time a medal in U.S. Rugby Sevens history in the Olympic Games. Team USA used to being on the medal stand, but after the disappointment of the Tokyo Games 3 summers ago, the Americans were expected to win gold in the team all-around in women's gymnastics, and that's exactly what they did. Simone Biles, that clinching gold medal floor routine, although not her best. Suni Lee, Jordan Childs, everybody that contributed to the USA as they reclaimed gold in the team all-around final yesterday.
And also, you see some of the pressure, I should say, that a lot of these women are under, because understanding how talented they are and all the accolades that they have in the past, but it only seems to count here, Ben, in the Olympics. Hey, 4 straight national championships, 4 straight world championships. What have you done for me lately? Can you also do it in the Olympics, which is the biggest stage of all? And the women's team has been nothing short of phenomenal for the past, 20, 30, 40 years. Always expected to be on that podium, always expected the medal. And certainly if you don't take the gold, it's usually a disappointment. They were phenomenal once again yesterday, and as expected here. But sometimes rising to those expectations in the biggest moment, you still have to do it. And they did that flawlessly. Injuries, no injuries, team effort, all the way through there. Gold medal, well deserved for the ladies.
And let's make sure we give our recognition and our flowers to all 5 members in the team all-around final. Simone Biles, the superstar. Jordan Childs, a veteran. Jade Carey, an absolutely sensational vault that propelled the Americans to dominance. Suni Lee, who won the all-around gold medal individually at the Tokyo Games, was great yesterday on the floor and on the balance beam. And Hesley Rivera there as well for the Americans. They reclaim gold. The United States men's soccer team, somebody about to eat some crow. The Americans into the knockout round in the Olympic men's soccer tournament for the first time since 2000. Donnie Rightside, what say you?
By the way, did you see who scored the 2 goals? Not only a great baseball player, Ishak Paredes with 2 goals yesterday, I believe, for Team USA. Absolutely phenomenal. Lightning bolt off of that foot yesterday. Looked like I was watching Ronaldo out there back in the day. I mean, fantastic stuff overall. You like that?
What?
See who scored the 2 goals? Who scored the 2 goals yesterday? Tell me, for Team USA. You don't watch soccer like I do.
No, you're right, I didn't. All right.
On the box.
Let me find
somebody.
it.
Yeah. Who's
here we
guy,
go.
Ishak Paredes,
I'm typing away.
Dominant.
Typing away. Typing
Come
away.
on.
All
Find
right.
it. Find it for people.
Is it Kevin Paredes?
No.
Bags of Brace.
Ishak Paredes, pal. Ishak Paredes. Let's go.
That's a wild joke to make there to highlight the accomplishment that the Americans advanced out of the group play in the 3-0 victory over Guinea. The home nation, France, in action on the hardwood in its second Olympic game in group play, and were tested by the Japanese. A 13.5-point favorite was Victor Wembanyama and the French team against the Japanese. Game went into overtime. They needed an 8-0 run individually from Wemby to pull away. They do win 94-90 in that overtime game, but got more of a test, I think, than France was anticipating out of Japan.
Yeah, they did, certainly. And this is going to be fun to watch once we get to that knockout stage. You will see some upsets here. We just hope it's not from a Team USA perspective there. Now, watching gymnastics yesterday, when the question here that I'm getting from most fans out here, hey, Donnie, you guys cover the Olympics, do a great job. When's Livy Dunn's turn here for the Team USA? That coming up today? When is that? Tomorrow? When is she out there?
I don't believe that she is a part of the Olympic roster. I'm not sure she will ever be.
How do you leave her and Caitlin Clark off the roster? What is this? Why? We're missing the point here for Team USA.
Cut his mic.
Cut his mic.
Cut his mic. Cut his mic. Cut his mic.
Sense.
Matt, cut his mic. Matt, cut his mic. Matt, cut his mic. We don't need that kind of conjecture here. Nadal Alcaraz, they advanced once again in the men's double for Team Spain. And I'm just going to read for the rest of the time here the Paris medal count as of right now. The United States has the most medals with 26. The host nation in France, they have 18. 4 golds for the Americans. They'll continue to make up ground. Donnie, I don't know if you caught this, though. Chase Budinger, yesterday, Olympic beach volleyball. He and his teammate, I believe, Dave Evans, they lost to the Netherlands yesterday in their second match of group play. They're going to need to win their third and final to advance past that.
That's got to be, it's 2-on-2, right? That volleyball, beach volleyball, that's got to be a tough sport, man. And by the way, I guarantee that 99.9% of those guys can dunk, man. You got to have up to play that sport, man.
Chase Budinger certainly can dunk. Hour 2 is up next on the early line.